What is up, people? It is your boy, Mr. Porter, aka Porter the Plug, and in this video, we are going to cover the fundamentals of Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word is one of the most commonly used word processing softwares developed by, you guessed it, Microsoft. Businesses use word processing software to create professional-looking documents like letters, reports, resumes, and marketing materials. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. The version of Word we're going to be rocking with today is the 2016 version. But since we're focusing on the fundamentals, the things we cover in this video are easily applied to newer versions, including the free version that comes with Office 365. When you open Microsoft Word, you have the option of starting from a blank document or a template. A template is a document that has been created by someone else where the design and the formatting have already been done for you. So let's say I was having a party and I needed a flyer. I could search for party flyers, choose the design that I like, change the title and the details, and I saved myself a bunch of time. But since you clicked on this video, I assume you want to get it out the mud and really learn the basics, so let's start from a blank document. One of the major keys with Microsoft products is understanding the layout and knowing what to call things. So let's get started with some Microsoft terminology. So at the top of the page, you'll see what's called tabs. So you have the Home tab, the Insert tab, Design tab, Layout tab,
Preferences tab, Mailing tab, Review tab, View tab, Developer tab.
Now these tabs are categorized based on what they can do for your document. So if we click on the Home tab, we'll see the most commonly used commands in Microsoft Word. And if we click on the Insert tab, this is where we can insert things like pictures or videos into our document. Another thing you'll notice is every time you click on a tab, a new set of options displays. When you click on a tab, what displays is called a ribbon. So this is the ribbon, and every ribbon is broken down into groups. So you have the clipboard group, the font group, the paragraph group, styles group, editing group. And then if I go to the Insert tab, I get a new ribbon and a new set of groups. Now these groups are made up of different commands that allow you to edit and format your document. But because there's so many things that you can do in Microsoft programs, Microsoft doesn't always have enough room to fit everything inside of one group. So if you notice, in some groups, you'll see an arrow in the lower right hand corner. This is called the launch button. And if you click on the launch button, a pop-up will display that gives you even more options for that group. Now sometimes we just can't find something, or we forget where it is. Luckily, Microsoft has the perfect tool for times like this. If you look to the right of your tabs, you'll see a search box. And if you click in this search box, you can enter words and phrases about what you want to do next and quickly get to features you want to use or actions you want to perform. So let's say I was trying to add page numbers to my document and I can't remember how. If I simply type in page numbers, the option to add page numbers pops up, and then I can add page numbers to my document. Now there's one more area that I want to bring to your attention, the bottom of the page. This is called the status bar. Now let's add some text to the document so I can show you how it works. On the status bar, you can see what page you're currently on and also the total number of pages in your document. And if I click on this, it brings up what's called the navigation pane, and it shows me all of the pages in my document, and I can easily navigate between pages. Another great tool on the status bar is the word counter. So as you can see, it tells me the number of words that I have in my document. Now this is great if you're typing something like an English paper and your teacher tells you that you have to have a certain number of words. And if I click on the word counter, it not only tells me the number of words, but also the number of characters, paragraphs, and the number of lines that I have. Also on the status bar, you can switch between these three views. So you have print layout, which is the default, and you can make changes or edits to your document in this view. This also shows you what your document will look like if it was printed. You also have read mode, where you can't make changes to your document. This is primarily used if you wanted to just review your document before you print or submit it. And then finally, you have the web layout, which shows you what your document would look like if it was published as a web page. Now, the final thing we'll cover on the status bar is the zoom function. You can zoom in just by clicking this plus sign, or you can drag this bar to the right. And if you wanted to zoom out, you can click the minus sign, or you can drag this bar to the left. So now let's talk about entering and formatting text. In order to add text, you have to click on your page, and what you'll see is a blinking cursor. This is where the text is going to appear on the screen. To move your cursor down the page, you would just press the Enter key. And if you wanted to move your cursor back up the page, you would just press backspace. Now, if you wanted to move your cursor to the right, let's say you were indenting a paragraph, you would press the Tab key. Now, this is only important for things like English papers, because in business writing, you never indent. Now, I'm going to say that again. In business writing, you never indent. Now, adding text is as simple as it sounds. You use the keyboard to type the words that you want to appear on the screen. So now let's add some text and look at some more Microsoft Word tools. To delete text, you use the backspace key. Now you can do this one character at a time by placing your mouse next to what you want to get rid of and pressing backspace. Or you can select one word or a group of words and delete them all at the same time. Now another cool tool that Microsoft Word has is a built-in grammar and spell checker. Anything that is spelled wrong is underlined by a red squiggly line, and anything that has grammatical errors is underlined with a blue squiggly line. So as you can see, I spelled welcome wrong and I spaced before my punctuation at the end of my title. Now, in order to correct these, if I right click on the word university, it's going to give me a suggestion with proper grammar. And if I click on the word welcome, it's going to give me a suggestion with proper spelling. Now let's take your word processing skills to the next level with formatting. In simple terms, formatting is how something looks. And in Word, you can format text, you can format pictures, you can even format the page to look different. But let's start with the fundamentals of formatting text. So the first formatting change that most people make is the font. And the font is just simply how the text looks. So to change the font, I'm going to click to the right of the text that I want to format, hold my mouse down, and drag across. Now I can go to the Home tab, and in the font group, there's a long list of fonts for me to choose from. And every time I hover over one of these fonts, it gives me a preview of what my text would look like. But for now, I'm just going to stick with the default. So next to font, you have the option of changing the font size. So if you click in this drop down, you'll see a list of numbers. And the larger the number, the larger the text. The smaller the number, the smaller the text. Now that's one way that you can increase your font size. You also have the option of using these icons right here. The larger A is going to increase your font size, and the smaller A is going to decrease your font size. Now to quickly format text and save yourself some time, you can use what's called styles. Styles are previously created formatting that you can apply to your text to quickly change the appearance of your document. So since I know that Welcome to the Plug University is my title, I can select the text, go to the Home tab, and in the Styles group, select the title style. And this is going to quickly format my text to look like a title. As you can see, the text is bigger and now it stands out. So now let's add a paragraph to look at some more formatting options. So in the font group, you also can change your text to be bold, italic, or underline. Now, let me explain to you when to use each of these. Let's start with bold. Bold is used to highlight text and capture the reader's attention. You use bold for a strong emphasis, like important phrases or highlighting keywords. But don't overdo it. Try not to put everything in bold because not everything is important. To bold text, you select the text and come to the Home tab and in the font group and select the B icon. You can also do this by pressing Ctrl and B at the same time. Next is italics. Now, here are some common uses for italics. You can use italics to highlight quotes, highlight names of books, blogs, or newspapers. You can use it to highlight a conversation or dialogue, imagination or some type of story, or even foreign words. To put text in italics, you highlight the text, you go to the Home tab, font group, and you're going to select the I. You can also do this with the shortcut key of Control and I at the same time. Because so many documents are digital these days, you don't really see a lot of text that's underlined because it can be mistaken for a hyperlink. Underlining is more so used in printed documents like textbooks and newspapers, but a lot less on the web. Instead of using underlining, most people just stick with bold or italics. But to underline text, you highlight, Home tab, font group, and you click on the U. Now you can also do this with the shortcut key of Control and U. In the font group, you can also change the font color by highlighting text and selecting the A with the color bar below it. Another formatting tip that helps your text stand out is using bulleted and numbered lists. Bulleted and numbered lists help readers see and understand list items easily. When lists are included inside of a paragraph, They're hard to read because they're jumbled up with the rest of the words.
You will never find.
So now let's talk about when to use each. You use a bulleted list when the items in the list are related to each other but equal. And you use a numbered list when the items in the list are in some type of order or sequence. To create a bulleted list, you go to the Home tab in the paragraph group and click on the bullets icon. Now to get out of a bulleted list, you click Enter twice. And to create a numbered list, you go to the Home tab, paragraph group, and click on the numbering icon. A quicker way of creating a numbered list is just by typing the number 1, period, and then the space bar, and Word will automatically assume that you want to create a numbered list. Now you can see, formatting wise, the list just look a little bit cleaner than putting the information in paragraphs. Now another tool that's in the paragraph group is called text alignment. Now text alignment is just how your text is aligned. Is it aligned with the left margin of the page? Is it aligned with the right margin of the page? Is it aligned in the center? Or is it aligned with both? Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I highlight this paragraph right here and I come to the paragraph group, I'll see that my text is left aligned. So all this means is that it's aligned with the left margin of the page. Now you can change this to center and it'll align with the center of the page. Or you can change this to right and it aligns with the right side of the page or the right margin. Now justify is where it aligns with both the left and the right side of the page. So you can see the text is aligned with the left side of the page or the left margin and also the right margin. So I'm going to stick with the common alignment, which is left align. But for my title, most people put their title in the center of the page. So I'm going to center align my title. Now something else you'll notice in the paragraph group is line and paragraph spacing. So if I highlight this paragraph and come to the paragraph group, I can change the line and paragraph spacing. This is just the number of spaces in between each line in a paragraph. Now you can change this to 1.5 lines, 2 lines, 2.5 lines, or 3 lines. But I don't really like any of those, so I'm going to just stick with what I have. Now one final tool we'll talk about on the home ribbon is Find and Replace. Now Find allows you to search for a text in your document, and Replace allows you to search for that text and also replace it with something else. So let's say I was looking for the word plug, and I wanted to see how many times I used it in this document. I could search for it by coming to the Home tab and in the editing group, clicking on Find. And this is going to search for the word plug. So now it highlights all of the time that I use that word in this particular document. Now, let's say I wanted to replace words, right? So the word technology, let's say I wanted to abbreviate that to tech. So I could click on replace and it's going to ask me, what do I want to find? And I'm going to type the word technology. And I want to replace it with just the abbreviation of tech. So when I click on replace, it's going to show me, before I replace it, it's going to show me what it's about to replace. And I can click on replace and it changes it. And business and technology, I can do the same thing. And then it says we finished searching the document. Now, if I was certain I wanted to change all of the words technology in this document to tech, I could have just selected replace all and it would replace all of them at the same time. But I like spelling the whole word technology out, so I'm going to undo those 2 changes and brings it back to technology. Now let's talk about the Insert tab. And the Insert tab is used to insert or put things into your document. So let's insert a picture. Inserting pictures make your document stand out a little bit more, and they also make it look more decorative. To insert a picture, you're going to go to the Insert tab in the Illustrations group. So you have 2 options. You can insert online pictures, and this is going to bring up a Bing search, or you can insert pictures from your OneDrive. You can also insert pictures from File. So this is going to be pictures that are saved to your computers or computers that you are connected to. Since I already have the Porter the Plug logo saved on this computer, I'm going to click on Insert Pictures from File. Now I just select the picture and I click insert. Now, one thing that you'll notice off rip is this is pretty big. So I will probably have to resize this picture. But one thing that you'll also notice is that I have a new tab up here now that says format, and I can format this picture using an entirely new ribbon. But for the purposes of this example, I'm just going to resize the image using the on-screen functions that I have here. So to resize this picture, I can click in the lower right hand corner and the lower left hand corner, any corner, and drag this in. And that is going to make the picture smaller. The reason you want to drag from a corner is so that it keeps the picture's resolution. You don't want to drag here because this is going to stretch the image out. So I'm going to make the image smaller. Now I want to move this picture to the bottom right hand corner, but it's not really moving as freely as I would like to. So if I change the layout option to either behind the text or in front of the text, it unlocks the picture and I can move it freely. Now, something else you'll find on the Insert tab is how to insert a hyperlink. A hyperlink is an object or a word that links you to another location. So if I wanted to change portertheplug.com to an actual link that took me to the page portertheplug.com, I could do so by going to the Insert tab and in the links group, clicking on hyperlink. Now this is going to ask me what text do I want to display. And now I see portertheplug.com is the text that I want to display, but the address is where I want to go when I click on this link. So if I put the full URL address in this box that says address and click OK, this will now become a link that takes me to portertheplug.com. Now remember, earlier when we talked about formatting, we said hyperlinks had an underline. So this is one of the reasons why we don't really use underline in digital documents, because they can be mistaken for a hyperlink. So if I click here, it takes me to portertheplug.com. Now you can add a hyperlink to an image as well. So if I wanted to come down here and make this Porter the Plug logo a hyperlink to the website, I could do so by either clicking on this and then going to the Insert tab and hyperlink, or I could just right click and then go to hyperlink. And now this is a link to the website as well. Another tool you'll find on the Insert tab is tables. Tables are often used to organize and present information, but they have a variety of other uses as well. You can even use tables to create some interesting page layouts. Tables are broken up into rows and columns. Rows are horizontal, which means they go left to right. When you think about rows, think about like rows in a movie theater. And columns are vertical, which mean they go up and down. When you think about columns, think about like columns in front of a house. And the intersection of a row and a column is called a cell. In order to insert a table, you're going to go to the Insert tab in the Tables group. Select this drop down and choose the number of rows and the number of columns that you need. For a bigger table or a more customizable table, you can select Insert Table and then type in the number of rows and the number of columns that you need. Select OK, and there you have it. And just like inserting a picture, we get a new tab up here that allows us to change the design and the layout of our table. We're going to use this table to create a roster for our students who are currently enrolled at the Plug University. So first, let's just go ahead and create another header that says current roster. And then we are going to create what is called column headers. So this is the information that is going to go in each of these columns. So we're going to do student name, courses enrolled, and then courses completed. And just because we want to show off, we are going to take these column headers and we are going to align them in the center of these cells and also bold them. Now let the magic of editing fill our table. So now this information is organized into columns and rows. It's easier to read and it just looks better. So now we have a pretty decent looking document. And there's only one thing that I want to change. So where we have courses and how to enroll in a course, I want to change those to a heading. So I can do this one by one, or I could do them all at the same time by highlighting. And then to highlight something else, if I hold down the control key and highlight at the same time, it allows me to highlight more than one thing. So I'm going to highlight all of these, go to the home tab in the styles group, and I'm going to change these all to heading 1. Now this document is pretty much finished, so I'm going to save it and also show you how to print this document. So again, shortcut keys are a cool way to save time. So if you press Control and S at the same time, that will save your document. Or you can come up here above your tabs and click on what is called a floppy disk. And that saves. So I'm going to save this to my computer and just save it as Welcome to the Plug University and click on Save. Now you can save this as a Word document, but there's also other file types that you can save this as well. The most common is saving it as a PDF. So you can save this as a PDF, and here's what it will look like. Now if you wanted to print your document, you can go to File and then Print, or you can just do Control and P at the same time, and that prints your document as well. Now this is a pretty good base to get you started with Microsoft Word. In a future video, we'll talk about some intermediate formatting and also collaborating using OneDrive and Office 365. It's your boy, Porter the Plug. I'll catch you in the next one.